Hello everyone, Mr. Hissner here, and today we're going to continue on our lesson with parallel lines, with transversals, and even on that same idea of algebra. Now, these problems we're going to be looking at today, these are all two variable equations, which we've seen before, so we're just going to use those same principles that we used in the past for those two variable equations, and just look at how they can affect our now transversals. So let us jump right into this and get started. So first thing I'm going to be looking at is um, this one right here. So like I said, these are two variable equations. You'll notice that we have both x and y. So what we want to do here is think of the possible ways that we can solve these. If you remember from the past, I said that what we want to do is first look for the equations. First look for an equation to set up with the quantities that have the same variables. With the quantities that have the same variables. And so here, these two quantities have the same variables. They both have x as their variable. And so I want to set up an equation for x. Notice that there's no equation I can set up for y that will give me a answer that will be a real number. It'll be in some other terms. So first, what I have to do is set up an equation that in terms of x, I need to set up an equation for x. And so let's try to first set up that equation for x. So here I have my sandwich, and I'm thinking, are these two things on the outside? No. Are they on the inside? Yes. Are they alternating interior or consecutive interior? Are they on the same side of the transversal, or are they on the opposite sides of the transversal? Well, clearly we can see they're on the same side. And so these are consecutive interior, and we know that consecutive interior angles have an angle sum of 180. So I'm going to go up here and say, okay, that means that these two are supplementary. And now I can just go ahead and solve. So let us combine our like terms. And then balance the equation, plus 54 to both sides. And so we have 26 is equal to 234. And then divide both sides by our leading coefficient on x. So x is equal to 9. Okay, so here's the plan, right? We want to set up, solve, and now we're going to substitute. So set up, we got that, we solved it, okay. Now we need to substitute. We need to plug this back in. And so we know x is 9. And so what I'm going to do here, again, is I'm just going to use my linear pair. So I'm going to say, okay, well, this is x is 9, so this is going to be 8 times 9 minus 10. This is going to be 8 times 9 minus 10. And so 8 times 9 is 8 times 10 would be this. 8 times 9 is 72. Minus 10 would be 62. So this is 62 degrees. And what we want to do now is set up an equation. The reason I chose this is because this is a linear pair, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my equation in terms of the linear pair. And so how about I just work over here? So we're going to have our 62 degrees plus our value for y, our quantity for y, 13y minus 38, and it's a linear pair. So this too is supplementary. So equals 180. Okay, so we have 62 minus 38. So this is 24 plus 13y is equal to 180. And then we can subtract 24 from both sides. And we have 13y is equal to 180 minus 24, 156. And I recognize that. That's 12. That's 13 times 12. So the idea here is that we're looking to set up, solve, substitute, set up, solve. It's just the rinse and repeat, the pattern here that we're just following. So if we look at this one, well, let's look at this one. So just remember that we want to create an equation for the expressions, the quantities that have the same variable. So here we have two x's, right? So the first thing we want to do is create an equation for x. So we want to identify, we want to set that up. These two are corresponding angles, so they'll be equal. This is the setup. Then we want to solve. And then we're going to take this value, and I'd plug it right back in here, right? Because these two are, oh no, I wouldn't. I'd plug it in 2, because this value for y is this angle in here, the yellow. So what I would do is, I would take that value, and I would plug it right back in here. And so I will have 10y plus 6 plus 9 times x minus 2 is equal to 180, because these two angles clearly form a linear pair. So set up, solve, set up, and then I would solve for y, where I would find y is equal to some number. So that's the pattern here. We're setting up the equation, we're solving it, we're substituting, we're setting up another equation, and we're solving it. That's what I got. Thanks for watching.